What's going on, guys? I'm Tommy, and I'm coming at you with an action figure review. Today I'm going to be reviewing Hasbro The Black Series Holocomm Collection, Ezra Bridger. A lot of people have a lot to say about the Holocomm Collection, and it's not a lot of good things. When it comes to Wave 2 of the Holocomm Collection, I know for a lot of collectors there were some head scratchers on the choices made for the Holocomms. Ezra Bridger was a head scratcher for a lot of people. For me personally, though, you specifically see Ezra Bridger with this look in the Ahsoka series in a hologram. It's a pretty important moment to Sabine's story in the show, and I think that it was a fitting choice considering it's relevant to newer media coming out and things like that. This figure was a fan channel exclusive, if I'm not mistaken, for 2024, so I did pick this up on a pre-order through Big Bad Toy Store, dropped it into my pile of loot, and here we are several months later recording a review. So taking a look at the packaging, this is the standard packaging for the Holocomm Collection, a little bit bigger than the standard deluxe packaging for the Black Series right now. Up at the top you have your Black Series logo, the big plastic window showing you the figure, the accessories, and the stuff for your holo puck. In vertical text here you have the character's name. On this little banner at the bottom of the window you have the Holocomm Collection and the little light bulb logo there. Down at the bottom we have some logos, including the fact that this takes 3 AAA batteries to power. These batteries are not included. On the side of the box here you get your little mural art. You get a little Iman Esfandi-esque little picture here in a hologram, and then you have Ezra's name at the bottom again. On the back of the box, you have a glam shot of the product with some different little texts here in about 1,000 different languages. You have hologram effect, includes bounty chip, lights up, and then we have a bio in about 1,000 different languages right here, which reads, "Receive the transmitted details of your next bounty with the Black Series Holocomm Collection, featuring light up holopucks." Again, reiterating, this is the Holocomm Collection. Down here at the bottom, we have all your legalese. Please don't feed this action figure to your babies. On the side here, we have another Black Series logo. On the bottom, even more legalese, and on the top, nothing except for that little Holocomm effect that the packaging team gave to all the sides of the packaging, just giving it a little bit more pizzazz in the box. So with all that aside, let's get this box opened and we'll check out the figure. Alright guys, here's everything out of the box. Before we take a look at the figure or its accessories, let's take a look at the holopuck. This is the same holopuck that has come with every other release for the Holocomm Collection. This is a 1-to-1 scale replica of what you see in The Mandalorian Season 1 when Greef Karga and Mando are sitting at the table discussing what bounties Mando will take next. You'll see it's got lots of sculpted pitting in here as well as some sculpted rivets. I would love to see them paint or give a wash on future holopucks, just because it would help bring out some of the sculpted detail, which looks really good when it catches the light. One of these rivets has been cleverly sculpted in to be the button to power it on and off, and then at the top here you have the holo projector piece, which has been painted ever so slightly along the edges, and then on the bottom here everything is pretty barren except for you have your panel for your 3 AAA batteries. I would recommend using a #1 size Phillips head screwdriver to get this thing opened. Now that we've got our batteries loaded in, all you do is press the button on the side of the holopuck and you'll get it to light up. You can't really see it on the camera, but there's one blue light in the center that is surrounded by 5 white lights. All these lights flicker in a what seems like random but is really a pattern. When you press the button, this stays on for about 30 seconds, and all you have to do is press the button again to shut it off, or it'll shut off on its own after that 30 seconds. However, this can stay on for up to 30 minutes. All you have to do is hold in that button for approximately 3 seconds, and then the holopuck will stay on for 30 minutes, and then it will go out on its own, or you can press that button again and shut it off manually. Aside from that, that's really all there is to say about the holopuck. We'll set that off to the side, and now we'll check out our bounty chip. All the bounty chips are interchangeable from release to release with the Holocomm Collection. This one is a 70,000 credit bounty. There is a little peg in the bottom of this here, and there is a peg hole that you'll see that corresponds for the holopuck. You just plug that that in, and your bounty chip is now connected to the holo puck. These are very loosely attached. They'll fall off very easily with little to no effort, so I'd recommend posing the figure first before you put your bounty chip on. Moving our bounty puck off to the side, let's now check out the accessories that Ezra will come with. So basically, this is the Ezra Bridger Lothal release that we saw with the Ahsoka subline earlier this year. So you get all the same stuff that you got with that figure. This is Ezra's blaster pistol. I believe this is a DL44. Everything is going to be done in the same color of translucent blue plastic. So there's no paint applications on anything with this release. It is all just the sculpted plastic. So there's your DL44 blaster pistol. And here we have Ezra Bridger's lightsaber from the latter seasons of Rebels. You have that nice lightsaber hilt there. They did sculpt a little ring so you can attach it to his belt. And then of course the lightsaber blade, which is also sculpted in that same blue, does come unattached. There is that there, and there are some little indentations on the base of the blade here so that you can technically have a right way to plug this lightsaber back into the hilt. All right, all that aside, let's take a look at Ezra. So like I said, this is essentially an Ezra from seasons 3 and 4 of Rebels, except for the fact that for some reason, Hasbro decided to give him a coif instead of a buzz cut for his haircut. It is what it is, it's kind of whatever, but you know, you can't really tell that it's the wrong haircut on the Holocomm figure. It's a lot easier to tell on the regular release, the mainline release from 2024. So this is pretty much what you get. Like I said, same as the accessories, no paint applications on this release whatsoever. Everything is just done in that translucent blue plastic. So there's not really much for me to talk about as far as sculpted detail or anything like that, but I will cover the articulation of the figure real quick. So you do have a double ball jointed neck, which has a ton of range here. Ezra has the ability to look down a little bit. He can look up quite a bit as well. You can get some good tilt out of that head, and he can look right and left. He does have a rubbery overlay that makes up this kind of armor piece at the top of the chest, and that helps out with the butterfly joints that are in the torso here. So those have some decent range to them. He also has a hinge and swivel at the shoulders here. Those shoulders can get up to a 90-degree bend, and they can also swivel a full 360 degrees. You do have some deep cut single jointed elbows here. Those get you past that 90-degree bend, which is awesome for a lightsaber wielding character, and there's also a swivel at the top of the elbow. Down at the wrists here, we have some hinge and swivels, so both of the wrists will swivel. There is a trigger finger hand in that right hand for the blaster, which also has a vertical hinge, and then that left wrist has a horizontal hinge. He's got a ball joint down at the waist here, which is going to give you some really good range for a lightsaber wielding character, and then all of this sculpted belt and kind of strapping piece down here at the waist is all a loose overlay. These straps at the thighs are not fixed, which makes the ball joint at the hip have a ton of articulation. This moves out of the way so easily that you don't have to worry about it breaking or bending, anything like that. He does have a cut for a thigh swivel, which is going to give you some extra range there at the legs. He's got some deep cut single jointed knees down here, and those are going to get you to that 90-degree bend, as well as a swivel at the top of the knee. And then down at the ankles here, you do have a forward facing pin for rocker, as well as a hinge, which is going to get you ever so slight forward bend, as well as some decent backward bend as well. Overall, this is pretty standard for articulation in the Black Series here in 2024. This is actually one of the better figures if you want a figure with great articulation. So with that aside, let's get him kitted out with his accessories, and we'll pose him up on the holo puck. All right, the first one here is going to be the blaster pistol. So the blaster pistol fits very nicely into the hand. That trigger finger slips right into the trigger guard there, and you're going to be able to get some really good poses with that there. He can aim down the sights very nicely, and of course there is also some weapon storage on that right leg. You have that holster. The scope is going to be outside the holster for this one, and then as you can see, it's in there very securely with friction. Shaking the figure passes the shake test. As far as the lightsaber goes, there is a hook on the left side of the belt here. You're just going to hook that lightsaber in, and it's going to hold in there with friction. It actually passes the shake test as well, which is awesome. It moves very nicely too, so when you're articulating the legs, if you have the lightsaber attached to the belt, it's going to be able to move freely very easily. Putting our lightsaber back together and sticking it in the right hand, it's not exactly the tightest tightest grip on the lightsaber, but it's good enough that it's going to pass the shake test. I can really move the figure around and I'm not worried about the lightsaber falling out of the hand. All right, let's get Ezra posed up. Ezra does have some peg holes in his heels here, and there are two kind of staggered pegs on the top of the hollow puck. So we'll just attach Ezra to the hollow puck here, and we will attach our bounty chip. Let's check out how this looks with the lights off. So taking a look at the figure with the hollow puck on, this is what he looks like. I think honestly, this guy does a better job of catching the light. Maybe it's because he's got a lot less volume of plastic at the midsection here, but he's catching the light very, very well comparatively to some of the other Holocomm figures. So I'm actually pretty happy with the way this one looks. Here's Ezra in a one-legged pose here, getting ready for a downward saber swing. And I gotta say, again, this holopuck, for some reason, I don't know if it's just the way this figure was sculpted, this figure does a really good job of catching the light. You can see a lot of the arm is catching the light of that holopuck, where a lot of times most of the Holocomm figures don't even get that. So very, very nice. And just for a quick comparison here is the Holocomm Ezra Bridger next to, from the first wave of the Holocomm figures, the Holocomm Ahsoka Tano. This figure was technically released for the Ahsoka subline, so here's two figures that you could have from the same show in the Holocomm collection. But with that, guys, that's about gonna wrap it up for this review. This is actually a really fun figure to get for the Holocomm collection. Again, this guy in particular catches a lot more light than some of the other Holocomm figures do, so I'm honestly really impressed with how this guy looks, and if you're looking for one of maybe the best Holocomm figures functionally, this one might be the one to get. And with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did and you're not yet subscribed, subscribe to Blitz Transmissions. I've got awesome Star Wars content coming out all the time. Make sure to check out my social media, all of which is linked in the description below. That's going to be all for this review, guys. I'll catch you for the next one, and may the Force be with you.